G'day. Apparently, the realistic nihilist had a video where he sort of incoherently talks about Discordianism and why it's the stupidest thing ever, etc. Um, and I was just going to try and explain some of the little bits that got mixed up and where they come from. So the main argument that was made in this video is that Discordianism doesn't make any kind of real sense because you can't say that order, and disorder are illusions. The argument that's being made by Mr. Nihilist is that order is not an illusion. Order is a state of things because we look at the universe, we see that everything has some kind of order to it, some kind of sequence, some kind of laws that govern it, such as the laws of physics, the laws of the universe, etc. So it's not fair to say, in his view, it's not fair to say that order is not a real thing, a real objective, non-subjective thing that exists regardless of whether or not it's being perceived. Now, he says something interesting after that, which is that he can understand how disorder is an illusion. Disorder as an illusion uh, because of the idea that everything has order, and disorder is in fact order that is parading as that seems to, it's hard to see the order there. Now, if we can consider for a moment, if we consider disorder to be an illusion, that's really helpful for us because we're looking at one side of things. We're looking at, so the one side where we've got disorder. And so if we look at a car crash, if we look at a confusing, say, election or a military coup, it might appear to be disorder, even though it's actually got some kind of logical order to it. If there's a hurricane, it might look like it's disorder, but really, it's all following the rules of the weather, of atmospheric patterns, etc. So if we can understand that there's such thing as an illusion of disorder, then we can swap that around and say, okay, what's the other side of that coin? Well, the other side of that coin is things, so this is, one side of the coin is things that seem to be disordered, and on the other side we have things that don't seem to be disordered. So what we'd say as a Discordian is that things that seem to be ordered, things that have apparent order, okay? So things where we can see order immediately, and things where we cannot see order immediately. And that's really helpful because we can divide everything into these categories if we want. It's a dichotomy. It's a false dichotomy, but it's a useful dichotomy of things that do not seem to have order when we look at them, things that do seem to have order when we look at them. So those two sides of things make up everything. And Discordians have a word for everything, which is chaos. Okay, chaos as distinct from order. So hopefully that makes a bit of sense. Now, what's the point of developing a dichotomy like that of things that that you can easily see order in, things that you can easily see disorder in, if you choose to look at it in that sense? Well, basically because Discordianism is in part a response to the focus on religion and spirituality and philosophy, the focus of those disciplines on peace, harmony, all those sorts of things that are seen as good and positive. It's a response to seeing those things as good and positive, and actually turning around and saying, well, hey, there's the other side of that coin, things that don't seem to be peaceful, don't seem to be harmonious, and those things are good too, and those things are fun too, and we can have a lot of fun with those illusions. So the point being, Discordians see everything in the world, call that, the word for that is chaos. They say, we look at some things, they look like they don't have much order to them. Look at other things, they seem like they've got a lot of order to them. Now that's a false dichotomy, but it's a useful dichotomy because we can use that to say, hey, let's focus on the things that seem to be disordered, okay, because they're fun to play with. So hopefully that makes a bit of sense. And if you have a look, I actually did that in under 5 minutes. Didn't take me 8.